This is big breaking emergency news. A shelter-in-place order has been issued, and a curfew is in place as well from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. This is right outside of a major U.S. city, and the entire city is contaminated. It's infected. It is people are breathing in toxic chemicals all day just living here, and people are stuck here. This is almost another East Palestine situation, and it's being completely swept under the rug. So let's get into the details here really quick, guys. Please just hit that like and hit that subscribe. I'm posting every single day, some days multiple videos a day, keeping you guys updated on all this big urgent news, and it just helps to get these warnings out. I appreciate that. So this is what's happening right now in Conyers, Georgia. This is insane that this has not gotten more news. And this is going on the third week of a shelter-in-place order that is happening here. This has been going on for 3 weeks. This incident happened on September 29th. I reported on this massive BioLab explosion. Do you remember that? That chemical factory that primarily made chlorine chemicals and other derivatives of it. And they had a massive explosion. Insane. The colors from the fire were red, orange, changing colors all day long, black, white. Okay. And everyone can smell it, and people can still smell it. And it's going on the third week now of a shelter-in-place order still happening here in Conyers, Georgia. And this is right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, okay? Right outside the city. This is like 20, 30 minutes outside of it from the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, all right? So this chemical smoke, everyone can smell it in Atlanta too when this first happened. And now the entire town of Conyers is still under a shelter-in-place order. And every time you drive through it on the highway goes right through the town, all right, going into Atlanta. Every time you drive into it, you get a shelter-in-place alert on your phone, all right, because it's still in effect here. And they are telling people to not even leave their house at all from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. as well, too. That's how bad the situation here. People are reporting they can still smell it. They're saying it just feels like something's wrong here. All right, something's wrong and they don't want to be here. And I want you guys to listen to this news report here really quick of some boots on the ground reports of what's happening in Conyers. All right, this is insane that this town right outside of Atlanta is pretty much being destroyed from this fire. Listen to this.
Shelter-in-place order extending into week number 3 for all of those near the BioLab facility in Conyers. A fire there sent a plume of smoke and chemicals into the sky, forcing people to stay in their homes during the evening hours.
And for those living around the site, there seems to be no end in sight. 11 Live's Molly Oak is back outside of the BioLab facility tonight. Molly, you have been working to get updates from county officials here. Have you learned anything yet?
Yeah, so like you said, we've been working to get updates from county officials. And guys, I got to tell you, as I'm talking with you, I am getting that alert that's telling me to shelter in place because of Rockdale County Emergency Management and that warning they're getting. So that shelter in place continues from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Now, we did try to get county management to do an interview with us today. However, they said because it's a holiday, they wouldn't be able to grant our request. That interview request was forwarded over to a new group called the Unified Command. So we're still working to learn those answers for you tonight. From September 29th.
It's still surreal.
To October 14th.
Even though the plume is gone, it still feels eerie. You can tell things are just not the same. So it's different. It's concerning. Especially when you drive through that section of the highway and you get that alert every time you drive and you hear it and you look and you can't see the gas, but you know it's there. It's definitely concerning.
Concerns and questions continue from residents as the shelter in place continues for those in Rockdale County within 2 miles of the BioLab facility.
Now I'm really frustrated, maybe even a little angry. Because I just don't have enough answers. I don't have enough information. And you would think that with something to this magnitude, information would just be pouring out to us, and it's just not happening.
Cherie Kellogg lives in Conyers
And you just get the whiff of it, coming through.
and wants to know why residents aren't getting more updates regarding what's happening at the site. The county's last public awareness update was on October 9th. 2 days ago, the Unified Command, which is made up of Rockdale County, the EPA, Georgia DNR, and BioLab, put out a news release saying, quote, significant progress has been identified in air quality monitoring efforts at and around the BioLab facility. Ongoing air quality assessments over the past 2 weeks show a steady reduction in chlorine levels, reflecting the success of mitigation and cleanup operations. But as time passes, residents feel like they're at a standstill.
We're just being left in the dark, being told to, just trust us. Public health is first, just trust us. Well, the trust is shaken. And with that trust being shaken, now you need to show me. And we're just not seeing enough.
All right, so that's what local residents in Conyers are saying. They're saying the government's not telling us anything. They're not giving us any information. They're depending on this company to clean it up and to take care of it, all right? And the entire town is contaminated right now. This was a massive chemical explosion. It was raining down debris on people all throughout the town. And she's saying the trust is broken. She doesn't even trust the government to clean this mess up. She's worried that they're just going to cover it up. They're going to sweep it under the rug. They have HazMat crews there, and they're just clearing stuff out and throwing it away, right? And this is all evidence. People need to know what's going on here, right? All this stuff needs to be figured out. How did this even happen? Where did this fire come from? How did this happen? And it's just like swept under the rug. No big deal. No charges. No anything. No accountability. And they're just going to throw all the stuff away and just, all right, move on. People can smell it in the town. It smells like chlorine every time you drive through the highway through this town, right outside of Atlanta. It's almost like a suburb of Atlanta. It's right outside of the suburbs of Atlanta. It's right there. Every time you drive through it, it stinks, right? It stinks. And people need to know what's going on. And they need to make it right for these people. This keeps happening to town after town. It keeps getting destroyed, all right? So please just hit it up for me down there, guys. It helps to get these warnings out. I appreciate that. This is going into the 3rd week here, and this needs more attention, right? We need to figure out what's going on. People have been sitting here for 16, 17 days now, just breathing this in. What does this do? I've seen studies just breathing in bleach, things like that, using cleaners, okay? They can affect you. They can even affect your IQ. Okay, so who knows what this is doing? Potentially affecting people's health, everything. They're just breathing in chlorine that's off-gassing all the time, right? Massive chlorine explosion. It pretty much coated the entire town. And then the area, people are saying around this BioLab, right around it, the closer you get, it's just constantly off-gassing chlorine, right? And it just stinks. So let me know what you guys think about this. And that's just what they're admitting. We don't really know. That's what I'm saying. All this stuff's evidence. So you need to figure out exactly what was in the air, exactly what was released, how this happened, who did it. And it's just kind of whatever. Initial reports report that this came from a chemical that cannot get wet. And there was potentially a malfunction with the sprinkler system. So there's a sprinkler system for a fire, but then the sprinkler system gets the chemical wet and it explodes. It's explosive once it gets wet, right? So, and it's not in a waterproof container too. So there's a lot of things. That's what initial reports were saying. And we haven't really got a lot more information. So None of it makes sense. Why would they have water sprinklers for fires if they know chemicals are here? They should have some type of flame retardant chemical that can put out the fire instead of water, right? And will not react with the chemicals they're using here in mass and producing. So thank you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe and staying prepared out there and stocked up, right? This also happened right after the hurricane. It was like days after the hurricane. A lot of people didn't even have power. They were still dealing with the situation. And then they had this BioLab explosion, right? So, and it wasn't like a BioLab like where they're working bioengineering or anything like that. But it is a chemical plant, right, where they are producing all this toxic stuff, and people have just been breathing in for 3 weeks now, still a shelter in place. So it must be pretty bad, but they're not admitting it. If there's still a shelter in place 3 weeks later, that's a long time to be dealing with this, right? And people in Florida, there's still hundreds of thousands of people without power, right? The gas stations are still struggling. It's going to take till later this week for the gas to get together, or for the gas to get refilled, right? People in North Carolina, they're still dealing with this situation, okay? They're still rebuilding roads. They're still moving equipment across rivers with ropes and things like this here, right? So there's a lot going on in our country, and it's not really talked about, right? All the stuff swept under the rug, and we need to get it out. So thank you guys. I appreciate all the support. I hope you guys have big blessings for your life and your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.